Great. Alrighty. Hey everybody. Welcome to KnoxData. So our group is about data science, and we've had a lot of different talks. And so tonight I'm really excited. We're going to talk about open data as it relates to here in Knoxville, which is going to be really exciting. So this event is part of Innovate 6.5 Week, which is a set of events all week here in Knoxville related to mostly the startup scene. But kind of why I wanted to get this event kind of on that calendar, kind of process it, is there's a lot of cool things that kind of go with government data and how government works with people that is really interesting and intriguing for entrepreneurs. And so that was a great opportunity to kind of cross-list and get some more information on that. Two quick words. We have a meetup, meetup.com/KnoxData. Plug in for a meeting that's going on tomorrow as part of Innovate 6.5 Week. They're actually doing like a lunch and learn for data analytics. So Ken's going to be there talking, as well as some other people. So bring your own lunch, but it should be pretty exciting. They're in Cherokee Mills, so if you're free during that time, you should.
It's filled up. I tried to sign up for that. Looks like it's filled up.
Okay, so well, anyway, it should be really exciting. You should be able to, I guess, if it is filled up. Well,
filled up.
Apparently, all the spots are filled, so sorry you can't go.
You got
mine. Should be exciting though. And then finally, KnoxData is underneath this umbrella called KnoxDevs, which is basically a Slack channel developed for all the software developer community. There's basically over 800 people on access to a channel. That's really cool. The best part about it is that what it allows us to do is we have it allows different channels kind of involved in there related to data science and all different groups in Knoxville all have a channel in there. And of course I'm not signed in, so of course I'm not going to do there. But anyway, you can kind of get a look, if you go to KnoxData.com, you can kind of get a look at all the meetups that are underneath the umbrella. And so a lot of different groups that meet throughout every month. And so we're one of those. So if you have more questions or things you want to know about, it's a resource you can check out. So without any further ado, Russ, you going to start? All right, awesome. Come on now.
Good afternoon. Oh, come on, I'm tired too. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name's Russ. It's not Mr. Jensen, it's not Russ Jensen, it's just Russ. It's kind of like Prince, just one word. For starters, and we got. Do you have a clicker? Because I wander. I'm very military. We're going to talk about what the city's doing with open data. Now, I got to give you guys a heads up. Over 150, which means I can do algebra in my head, but I can't remember where I put my car keys. But I'm not a coder. I'm not a technical. I am a self-admitted, proud operations guy. So I will probably get more out of you guys than you will me over the course of over the course of our talk, because I really get excited about what you guys like to do. But I'm smart enough to know that I don't know how to do it. So I'm constantly looking for folks. In fact, we met with Nathan, Jesse Shark, Nathan, George Wallace, myself met with Nathan last week. And we had a great hour and 15-minute talk. And we could have gone on for another hour easy. We're going to have some follow-up conversations. And I am kind of a numbers guy. I'm a data geek. Just so you know my background, my degree is in industrial organizational psychology from UCLA. Are you running 311 with a degree in industrial organizational psychology? Well, back when I was in college, I originally started out as pre-med until I got to organic chemistry. And I changed to psychology. UCLA has, for the last 3 decades, had one of the top psych programs in the country, and I had a ball. And once I finally got into a major that I really understood and liked, I took off. So it was a very good decision for me. The other thing was, there were two directions I thought I might go: sports psychology and cognitive. Years later in government, I am a child psychologist. While I was going to school, are any of you old enough to tell me who that is or what that is? I doubt it, unless you're watching Nickelodeon a lot.
It's not chips.
Close. Same area.
It's emergency.
Emergency. Johnny Roy. And the reason I pull it up is because the guy standing in the back in the shadows, Armin Stoker on the TV show, he was my captain. How old I am. I was a paramedic in South Central Los Angeles for 14 years. I've been shot at more times than I can count. I've been stabbed 3 times. I've been hit by a car, blown up, and thrown out of the second-story window. So when you all call to complain about a pothole or trash pickup, it doesn't bother me a bit. This is the easiest job I've ever had. But street, I started working my way up through management. I started building call centers. And I built a very large call center on the West Coast in Torrance, in South Bay, in California, for medical response, and it's still there. Built several, one in Covina, one in San Diego. And then I moved out here to take over Rural Metro, and I was the EMS director, Emergency Medical Services director for Knox County for several years. Manager, and I have pretty much all of the Southeast for Rural Metro, including the fire department. And at one time when my fire chief retired and I hadn't hired a new fire chief, I got to be fire chief for like a month. Coolest job ever. I could get on any fire truck I wanted to go anywhere I wanted to go. But I wasn't allowed to touch any equipment. I quit being a paramedic many, many, many years ago. While I was working at Rural Metro, we created And let's say, and I'll take potholes because it's an easy one. We say we should fill a pothole in 4 days. The reason we say 4 days, really we should do it in 2, but we have to count the weekends. The clock keeps ticking over the weekend. If we're doing it 95% of the time, everybody's happy. If we're doing it 70% of the time, everybody's like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get in trouble. Well, no, maybe it means you need a pothole truck, or you need to rearrange your crews. David Grace, who's our public works director, he got this really, really early. And they were looking at their leaf pickup schedule, and they were having trouble picking up leaves on the south side. And month in, month out, they were the worst looking area. And he figured out he needed to kind of shuffle his crews around in his trucks. 98% ever since. So data is, it's a tool. You guys get this. I know I'm preaching apart, but data is a tool. It's a screwdriver. Helps you change things. Helps you move things. In 2006, that's how we applied. We got accepted really, really fast. I think we did a really, really good application. And we got accepted. We were in the second grouping. There was about 20 in the first group. And then we were in the second group. And we go up to New York once a year. With all the other cities that are involved, and we share information and what everybody's doing with the data. And the latest and greatest thing they're doing in tech in particular is doing the coolest thing. It came out of a competition they had to paint over graffiti on freeway overpasses. And it was a competition, and some small little startup in San Jose came up with it. And I forget how much money they won for that idea. But you don't have the risk costs that you have hanging somebody over a freeway overpass, and you're not shutting down the freeway to do it. And I finally found some video of it. It's actually pretty neat. But so we get to share ideas with other cities and like-minded cities. And they're from all over the country and a couple from Canada. Why open data? There's a lot of conversation. And keep in mind, the city is about 9 to 10 pretty large companies, large organizations, all rolled into one. You've got public safety, you've got law enforcement and fire, you've got public works, you've got engineering, codes enforcement, building permitting, civil service, or human resources, however you want to look at it, finance and tax offices, people who do all the tax collecting, and municipal court, because we answer the phones for municipal court. So if you get a ticket or a parking ticket, you're talking Michael when you call. Standard format that talks about enhancing the use of data and evidence to improve services, inform local decision making, and engage the residents. Bottom line, it's just the right thing to do. We were looking at it, in particular with Mayor O'Hara, transparency, transparency, transparency. The more we can get out front and give people information about what we're doing and how we're making decisions, the better off we are. How many of you know who Bill Lyons is? Yeah, Bill Lyons is all about public process. And he's been there pretty much, well, I think he got there a little bit before I did. He started with Hasky. Basically, just the 4 tenets of becoming a well-worked cities. You need to make a commitment. You need to start measuring. You need to take stock of what you have available and what you don't have available. And then you need to be committed to taking action when you're done with all that. We follow up with it. Part of being a well-worked cities is for about a 6-month intense period. Every week you're on a conference call with either somebody from Johns Hopkins or Bloomberg, or some foundation that are working with Bloomberg. And the first thing you need to do is create policy. Set the policy to you, just to make it easy, and then you can disseminate it. Yeah. Long and short, it's gather the data, not charge people the data. There are formatting issues we address. A governance group, which the governance group consists of me, the and Jesse, our communications director. Out of the gamut, the deputy law director is the lawyer that represents law enforcement in the city. And if someone comes to us and says, hey, put a request, it's kind of like a public information request, which is really different. Open data is separate from public information requests. But the government we have data available in format some of them can actually get to. And is there anything we need to do? Same thing for internal requirements that want to publish data. Mine was the first. Actually, not really, because we put some low-hanging fruit on there. And put it out there. If you go to Knox and you go to the 311 page, for IMRING performance for all different departments. And I also give you an idea what they changed season. I report the month ends out because I'm doing it. But that was our first shot at it. We're getting ready to, I'm going to zip through the policy real quick. This is a page on the City of Knoxville's website. Go here, you get to those, and we also went and picked out all the low-hanging fruit. So all the tables that currently exist within the city that we can just pull out and do any work. We went ahead and started doing that. Council agenda is crime, our home problem, some GIS data, and all that to come back. To that when he saw you as much as I know, we can actually play with it. Other cities are doing the same thing. It's very, very forward. Everything from planning and design, sidewalk repairs, and back. Chattanooga. Every time you mention Chattanooga, everybody kind of goes, "Bleh." This weird competition goes. Chattanooga, several of you, they are really big dashboarding from municipalities. I know they've run it. They've been several. time we finish something that we started here in 2014, most of the stuff we were looking at tech-wise is obsolete. So we're counting on these kinds of communities to help us stay, not only keep up, but say, okay, what's next? I'm a big purveyor and a big fan of, we need more high-speed wireless in our community. We're built for it. We're not bad. That's the other reason why people, they always frown about competing with Chattanooga, because it's the fiber optic city. If you're digging in the ground right now, small cell technology has gotten to where it's so affordable, there's no reason to be digging in the ground anymore. You folks get that. More importantly, you know how to use it on the back end, and you know what you want to see on the back end. So we'll actually be coming to you to tell us what you want to see. And I think that's it for me. I go really, really fast. I'm sorry. But questions? And remember my background. I'm not tech. Go ahead.
First of all the Navy aircraft carriers come pretty quick. But the question is, are you warehousing this data anyway? And do you have like a data warehouse where there's relationships between data?
Being that we're government, there's tons of data required by law, depending on the department, to hold data for at least 7 years. But there's data in there that I guarantee you is a lot older than that. And there's some stuff, quite frankly, that's warehoused away on paper that we really need to make digital.
Maybe my understanding of warehouse is a little different. Warehouse is basically a schema or a way to store the data so that it can be retrieved quickly.
No, not yet.
Okay.
But we know that that's necessary. We're just not the experts.
Okay.
And while we have an IT department, these are the experts. They do infrastructure for the entire city, and that's part of the reason why I said, by the time we finish a project, what we're doing is obsolete. It takes so long to cycle that stuff through. Our IT department may be putting new laptops in police cars. That takes forever. Or the ABLs that we recently put in the buses, and Kat's working on a customer bus route thing so you can actually see where your bus is. We've been dying for that for years. But yeah, we know we need that. We are probably going to be looking for help to do that. How do you want to see it? What do you want to see? Where do you want us to put it? How do you want to access it? Those types of things. Data policy allows us to do is ask those questions. And just so you guys know, we created that, and and we will make it available. It's not just something we willy-nilly decided to do, and we put a paragraph on the website somewhere. It is in city ordinance. Somebody had a question over here. Sir.
Yeah, so it's following up on that. You talked about portals like Socrates and stuff.
Yeah.
That's not a direction you're going, or are you thinking about that? Or what about framework for what you're putting out?
As far as I'm a big fan of Dash. I just think that for the money you spend on some of that stuff, I'm not sure we get the return on the investment. Whereas by working with the folks at MPAS, because they have some things that are $80,000, $100,000 to do it. Does that make sense?
I don't know. It depends what you come up with.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of going by this question, but do you guys have a plan or have discussions about implementing a crawl data? Issued into the warehouse first. But
We're not there yet. But yes. In fact, the Bloomberg people, that was one of their first questions too. We are, it's kind of from an operational standpoint, we are way up here. But when it comes to line curve, the good news is we don't. It takes time. I remember municipal necessarily the way that you're competitive at that level like private industry is. And I can say that having worked in both. I used to run a very large organization that was publicly traded. And you had to be on the front end and you had to be very competitive. Whereas, 20 years ago, municipalities, it's very competitive, ego-wise, but also for fun, and because people see it as the right thing to do. And so much more is getting done at the local level when it comes to government and things like this than at the state and federal level. It's really getting exciting over the last couple of years.
So on the data governance side, you had listed multiple cities. Is there a consortium where cities talk to each other in regards to like data harmonization? So let's take a tree inventory. Tree inventory data for Knox. Is there any same type of data that I can?
I'm gonna let him answer that, because I'll bet he knows better.
Or just in general.
But the short answer is yes. Is actually, at least our law enforcement, they're a little bit rest of us, because they've been doing this a long time. FBI data, federal data, DOJ data, things like that. It's the rest of us that are kind of playing catch up. We're not used to measuring and counting and putting everything in the file where people can go get it. Now there's groups within KGIS that they get together, but for our group, just the municipality is the closest. And we are up to of also let's see, terrible Indiana. I mean, when we got in, it was primarily cities of around 100,000 to 200,000. But it's, and then what I do for a living, the same thing. There's a similar standardizing. 311 there was homework. There's a lot of standardization. People are just trying to figure out how to get people to dial the number. Remember this, but when we created 911 back in the day, you're going to love this. In schools, and they went home and talked to parents. With 311, it's a little bit different because the caller mix, in particular when I came on board, it's just the opposite. It's senior citizens. They really like it. They don't like self-service. Reasons. And I had my 83-year-old mother living with me until she passed away, so I learned a lot watching her. They have arthritis, they have cataract. However, they are in the tablet market. Well, that's part of it. But what do all senior citizens like to do?
Crosswords.
Solitaire. They like kids on Facebook. And it's really easy. So about 3 years ago, the intern I had, who's now up in, she's in New York, not protocol. She's the one that works on education in 30s. But she was our intern, and she came up with a program where we would teach seniors how to use smartphones and tablets. And but we got the O'Connor Center to host it for us in a couple of iPads. They're filled every week. So seniors are starting to come around. But when I first started, they wanted to call somebody and they wanted to talk to somebody. They wanted to know that person's name. They were not interested in self-service. As things evolve, and my generation gets a little older, we're seeing the need for more stuff. We're taking a very serious look at chatbots now. One, because the technology's gotten a lot better. The other thing we're looking at for this next year is voice recognition technology within the call center. We don't require simple. I don't want to spend all my time pulling tapes for people who want to argue about a phone call. 911, you'd be amazed at how often they're pulling tapes for either the news or somebody that's having an issue. And we can do live auditing within the call center, so we kind of know what our people do. Plus, we don't remember, we don't lose people. We expect from our employees. However, voice recognition technology has gotten, I can query reports every time somebody says trash or pothole or leave or whatever. A much better knowledge base based on what people are calling, just asking questions about, as opposed to what they actually ask for service. People ask on the phone versus a service request are not necessarily the same. Those data sets, because it helps me curve and create our service a lot better for people that are going to be calling us. So far, go ahead. You're going to ruin it, aren't you?
No. Are you guys going to make a distinction in priority between one-off consumable data? So, for instance, like Alexis Nexus Prime Map, right? They can look at that and make some set, but with people not find it in the past 10 years, right? And then do whatever I want to do it separately. So are you being placed on getting more data sources and like useful data sources that people like us have actually make something else off of?
Yes.
And
Issues we had over and over again is we want to start not A, throwing stuff out there, and B, seeing what questions we would ask. Process, and this is part of the going back to the Bloomberg program, is learning from people what they want to do with data and bringing folks like you in and helping us say, okay, this would be helpful to people to look at if we could format it this way, or if we could access data this way. And like I keep saying, we're still in like the little baby stage. But we're incredibly open. A lot of your time to ask those questions. 10 years ago, against the wall.
things were finished to let us figure out.
Yeah.
Just give us all the data that you have.
We have actually had that conversation. Where we run into issues is with law enforcement data, because there are certain things that are confidentiality issues. There may from time to time be HIPAA issues. But that aside, we have kind of made the decision of what more data we come up with. Okay. Sir, I'm going to ask
the same question everybody else is asking me.
but in a different way.
Yep.
Okay.
So how do we get our hands on this data? Well, do as we wish. Take this data. I need to rearrange it so that you can use it better.
I'm going to make your life really, really easy. You email me. Since I'm the chair of the governance committee, it's probably the best place to start. Because then what I'll do is I'll pull all those folks together and request. And we'll say, okay, do we understand the request? And remember, the IT director's in that group, so hopefully we will understand the request. And if we don't, we're like, we need to sit down with this person and ask questions about what they want. And that's how you get the process.
I'm not trying to create a government bureaucracy, but we're just looking for data.
No, we're trying to make it as short as humanly
I
possible.
mean, I've got other projects that are, right, so I'm feeling like NOAA data. Because the federal government makes this data freely available, and it's huge data sets. So we want to run queries in our test environments against huge data sets. It's great, right? So we can then play with it and figure out how to make our queries run quicker, design databases so they.
Have you taken a look at what we put out so far?
I saw some spreadsheets.
Yeah, and I'm not a big spreadsheet. I would rather just plug in data tables.
We'll address some of the bulk questions.
I was going to say, because the answer to your question is really yes. We just need to learn how to do it better. And we're always going to have that caveat that we need to be careful about certain pieces of data we put out there. As long as we're doing that, we honestly don't mind. That's why I put the performance data out there. I don't care if you're, green, red, or yellow. And for us, green's good, yellow's indifferent, red's always bad. Because the more information that's out there, the better. So, sir.
I guess something along the same line.
You cannot ask the same question.
Not the same question. So on the website, I was looking at a lot of data that was available. A lot of them were maps that you click on, you'll get data. And I think for a lot of people here, the visualization is not the problem. It's just having the data available. So instead of that visualization, if it was just a file with all the data, you could.
It's a question.
Yeah. You gotta remember 5 years ago, virtually any municipality was like a lockbox. So we're all learning how to put that stuff out there. So the answer to the question is we just need to go like do it. So
So I'm.
What about
So you have all this great data that is out there.
I don't know that I call it great data.
I mean,
It's just better than it was.
Play with some of it. What are areas that you guys are really interested in seeing houses done, or whatever you take and play with?
Personally, my big thing is always going to be lighter carbon, and then to be honest, very often 311, and I look over on the 2 on one side, and I look at unmet needs in social services. Ties into that. A lot of times, let's say senior citizen, for instance, lived in the same house since the 30s, maybe the 20s. It was the most gorgeous house in the neighborhood. or pay for the mids and three utilities at the same time. Stuff like that is always going to be really important. And plus, blighted property is always big for the community because it helps everybody's property value stay up and things like that. The other thing is looking at access and things like that, and more importantly, where we don't have internet. It drives me crazy that we don't have more high-speed wireless data. And that goes back to a conversation we had with Nathan last week, looking at transit and things we can do better along those lines. Things that really work toward the quality of life in the community. That's always going to be interesting. I stay away from public safety stuff because A, I did it, I did my tour of duty. But B, they got their own experts over there. They don't need me poking around that stuff. I still find it interesting, but what else you got?
Can we spend a minute just saying, just making, for example, I want cat.
I would prefer email, and the only reason I say that is because as I get older, my short-term memory sucks. So if you email me, it nags me.
The idea was that it goes to your email, but none of us hear what the request is. So, for example, I want to see CAT GTFS data, general transport or transit specification feed, and I want to see Excel sheets of the financial data page. That's one like that.
That's it.
Yeah. Does anyone else want to see anything that
You have pretty much.
It's like I thought, that's really the coolest thing you said.
What's that?
I'd like to find a relationship between tree blight and
Yeah.
maybe why my trash service is late for the tree guys once a month. I don't know.
And traffic.
Sure.
You tie traffic into that. Yeah, see, I love that kind of stuff. But I run a call center all day, so I don't have time to do it. To me, it would be so much fun to sit down with people and look at some of this stuff and say, okay, what can we really build into?
You got call center data?
Well, of course I do.
So
Average length of call for my call center is 90 seconds.
So there's an idea for you then.
Go ahead.
Community of data people tend to flourish if you give them the opportunity to put on, for example, like a hackathon where you open up the coffers and you say, all right, here's what's available. What can you guys do in this controlled environment where there's no danger, for example, that you get a leak of HIPAA related data. And then all of a sudden the onus is on us then to say, all right, we got 48 hours. What can we build? That
We have talked about
I'm more than 48 hours.
no.
Hang on.
Yeah, you get a weekend.
The project I mentioned with San Jose and the drones, that came out of a kind of a hackathon.
It's usually
It was one of the things that came out of this competition. Bloomberg in New York, they host one. Philadelphia's had one. Several cities have done it, some with mixed success, but we have definitely talked about trying that. Because one thing, it kind of throws it all out there, and you know, all these folks that have that same question, it's like, hey, take a whack at it and see, show us what you got. I know you're itching to get going.
Hackathon for the
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
It sounds like you need a hackathon for the infrastructure side of it first, though. Like, how are we going to deliver this data?
You may
Come up with that.
very well be right. Because you got to remember, when I built 311, trying to get everybody on one piece of software just to track service requests was a nightmare. Now we're using, write this down because you want to play with it later, Excel. And we use it for all of our work orders and our asset management. So everything from parking meters to fire hydrants to stop signs, things like that. So we can track assets, and it's got the geodata that goes with it. Where before we were constantly, if you've ever called 311, first thing we were asking is, what's the address? Well, now if you look at it and tell us what the parking meter number is, we know what the address is. We couldn't do that 5, 10 years ago. And everybody is getting on that software now. We're just now getting ready to roll out all our engineering departments. It's taken quite a while to get them on board. I jumped off a cliff about 4 years ago on a capital campaign. We used to use Motorola software. And we were getting ready to do a major upgrade, but I'm still frustrated that we hadn't gotten everybody else on work order asset management software. So I said, look, if we find one that everybody likes, we'll figure out a way to use it in the call center. So we got together with folks in Excel, and they've got a module that we use in the call center. It doesn't look pretty like some cities' call center software does when you look at their computer screen, but it's incredibly functional. And we can look up stuff real time, and I can see when inspectors are out in the field doing a lock complaint real time, and I couldn't do that before. So it's exciting for me because I get to see stuff that is important to me, which is the service getting done. But it also helps us do a lot of that. The historical data from 5 years ago, beyond that, public service had their own software, some of which was homemade. Engineering had their own piece of software, some of which was homemade. Everybody had this old proprietary legacy software. And I swear some of these folks are still listening to Rolling Stones Start Me Up from Windows 95. So getting everybody on the same page software-wise has been a major challenge. So we're trying desperately to get in the 21st century. Really, we just kind of sort of made it to the 20th. Go ahead.
What form is that blighted property data going to be in? The Excel stuff or?
Right now, the dashboard stuff, or just data in particular?
The blighted properties, you mentioned those would be going out.
It's going to come from several places. That's why I'm kind of looking at you funny.
Okay.
Dashboard stuff will be basic.
How can we get it? How can we get this data?
There's like 4 or 5 different pieces of data going into that. Some of it you get right out of Excel. So it goes back to the question of just let us have access to the data and let's plug it out. Some of it may be in other old data. We would have to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, so
I can't answer it.
So in October, when you guys roll it out, is that going to be a dashboard?
That will be a dashboard with spreadsheets tied behind it.
Okay,
Yeah, it's basically going to come out of, it's called Covalent software, which is what MCAS uses, and Excel spreadsheets.
Okay, and so we'll be able to download those spreadsheets?
Yes.
And,
Sorry I made that hard.
No.
All right, Tim, I know you want to get going.
We'll send the wife a text, so we'll be home at 10.
I really didn't mean to take an hour.
I think it's good stuff. We got switch slides.
Oh, you are too.
When Russ is here, I'm not the oldest person in the room, so that makes me feel better.
I'm here for you, man. I'm going to hang out for just a little bit, but I do have to go in about half an hour. So if you want to yell at me, you got to have to.
I didn't just shut off your.
Anybody can get one of these.
I think it's like the Wi-Fi.
Did I just shut off your?
I think the Wi-Fi's going in and out.
You did?
You can.
You were late, weren't you?
All right, I'm going to do. 211. No.
Now, if you people don't know my phone number, you are not paying attention.
Are you still seeing me on
It I think the wireless is kind of going crappy.
Sorry about it.
We'll just.
All right. So my name is.
Unfortunately.
My name is Tim Kuhn. I'm with the Metropolitan Planning Commission. I do want to draw a distinction between the Metropolitan Planning Commission and KGIS. I know everyone that works at KGIS, but I do not work at KGIS. Okay, so we work with them a lot. We know a lot about what goes on there. We can even talk about that. And there are some of their policies and pricing today. But we do not work with them. So also with me is Nick Shamborn, who's a GIS analyst in our office, and Alex Zendel, who's also a GIS analyst. So we are data people. We are not data scientists. So I mean, I get nervous putting a chart or a table up here and look at it. But we are going to talk about our data policy. Yeah, obligatory. You all have heard of MPC, hopefully, and have some idea about what we do. But we are an agency of the city and the county. We serve both the city and county. We're a body, so there's 15 people that get appointed by the mayors, and they vote on the hard questions that we answer once a month about new subdivisions or whether or not there should be a daycare here in the neighborhood or whatever the hard questions are. There's a lot of hard questions outside of what's being asked right now. Those are the types of things that they kind of have to wrestle with on a monthly basis.
I'm not going to get my sidewalks on Sheffield.
Is that a city or county? They also have an executive director who employs us. We do, for the city and county, we do things like zoning, subdivisions, long-range plan for the city and county. And then kind of an odd sort of thing we do addressing. So we maintain information about street names, center lines, and all the house numbers and feed that information on. What else we do? So we also kind of serve general government. So if there's things that are going on inside the city or county, we kind of like to be a little bit of a service bureau and like help people with problems that they're having or help them with a good process or arrive at a solution. And so we provide support for lots of different entities. So City of Knoxville and Knox County, obviously. So I don't know if I should attach my name to this, but like City of Knoxville, we help the list of addresses for all the households that got cards last year. That may have been a miserable failure, I don't know, but we tried really hard to make a good list of all the households in the city, which is actually kind of hard. And how many people, or how many cards that each one needs. Knox area transit. So we maintain the transit maps. We took it run to making the transit feed. It was too hard to maintain, we couldn't do it. But we maintain all their maps. We put the interactive maps. If you've been on the CAT website lately, you'll notice that there are interactive maps on the website. And as of today, you can click on a stop and launch the Google Trip Planner by clicking on a stop on any route. I'll just push that this morning. They do have a transit feed, and there's no reason why you shouldn't have it. Election Commission, we help them with basic information about voting places and that sort of thing, but we also do reapportionment. So when new districts are drawn every 10 years, we are pushing the buttons on the computer to help make that happen. Central Business Improvement District, this is an enrollment projection of Knox County schools. So we do work with a lot of student address data, birth data, development data, and have a model that we run on an annual basis. So we kind of kicking that process off here. That's used to help forecast enrollment at the school system. All the middle schools that have been opening up the last 2 years, the rezonings and the things that have to go along with that is all tied to our projection data. There's others, KCDC, Development Corporation, among others. I thought this map was kind of neat because it's a map that Alex worked on with the city of Knoxville. They received a large grant from TVA, and they were upgrading, it gives people the chance to get energy upgrades done to their home. And so they were looking at where to target that. And so what we used was the Knox County Property Assessor data, which you can go get from the Knox County Property Assessor, a CD of every parcel, not the geography, but every parcel and all its attributes for $100. So if you're looking for some big data, that's going to tell you if there's a fireplace, how many bedrooms are in it, how many fixtures, how much it's worth, how many floors it has, commercial, industrial. It's not assessed like 13. Why is it $100? It's $100 then. I'll guarantee you there's some property tax assessors association with the other side. Shouldn't it be open? Yeah, I think it should, yeah. Because $100 really doesn't have much. $100 isn't that much. Maybe 30, 40 people ask for a year. But there is revenue tied to all of these things, and so that is a consideration. We don't have revenue tied to data. Yeah. Skip it. Anyway, the areas that are highlighted in green here have higher rates of poverty, people that might need assistance with their energy bills, and also have older homes and homes that are homes that tied to KV data in it. So the size of homes from the property assessor, the census data showing poverty rates, and then was there some energy usage in that as well? So we're looking at energy inefficient homes. So it's high energy bills and large houses. And that's the green areas is where they targeted their outreach to try to get people involved in the program. Open data policy. So this is kind of the gist of what we're going to do because you guys are asking about how you get data. So we kind of have to dig in on this one a little bit and are going to in a major way so you understand what it is. And at the end of this, there's time left. There will be. We'll just show you some of the things, some of the applications, some of the things that we've developed. Show you a standing open data application that no one really knows is open data. And some other things that we have that could work. You guys can get pretty soon. All right, we're going to talk about City of Knoxville's NPCs, the open data survey results, if anyone did a survey, and then we're going to take a deep dive into public records. All right, the city of Knoxville did theirs. EXO is a cool way of saying executive order. That was done in May of 2017 through Bloomberg Plan, as you heard. Two things that they were focused on in Bloomberg. Open data policy and evidence-based decision-making. I want to highlight those two things because NPC is only concerned with one of them. We're only concerned with open data policy. We don't want to worry too much and get caught up in implementation and that sort of thing. Partly because we don't implement it, we plan. And two, the public has to be involved in what we do. So if we decide we want to measure something, we've got to do a lot of feedback from everybody inside. So I would suggest, as Russ did, chat maybe a city of Louisville. But the idea of the performance-based stuff is you put a target out there, you show how well you are working to get towards that target. And that's what a lot of these places do. And then they expose some of the data behind those things that help them measure. So there's a lot of data sets to work with. Okay. Who does it apply to? The city of Knoxville applies to all these different things that are division of city government. Sometimes you want these things to apply to you, and other times you don't. In this case, we're like, yeah, this is a good idea. You should apply to commissions because we want to have an open data policy. So we've been trying to give away open data for a long time. It makes a lot of people nervous to do this sort of thing about putting out your data to do ArcGIS Online. If you go search an ArcGIS Online through our users and through some of the data, you'll find data that you can just download. Whether or not you know it's there, we're going to maybe show you how to get on there so you can poke around and get some data that way. But ours basically mirrored the city's, but it was just a little bit more narrow. So we adopted this in May of 2017, and it's purely focused on the release of high-quality open data and the steps that we have to take in order to do that. So that's kind of where we're at. We're not so much worried about measuring and efficiency and all those types of things. We're really just worried about trying to get our data out. It contains a policy commitment on our part to do it. The second is an implementation roadmap. So a set of steps that we're going to follow in order to release the data. Because you can't have people pounding on your door and say, no, I have a process that I'm going to use, and that's the order I'm going to release it in. Doing things like this, doing surveys, and working with your programmatic priorities is how you do that. So, what does open data even mean? Pretty amazing stuff, but it means you publish data with no restrictions on reuse. If you read these when you publish data, one of the things you have to do is you have to assign a license to it. And there's two that are pretty much recommended for use. They're very similar, but this Open Data Commons one has kind of a synopsis one that's very short. It says, I'm putting this in the public domain, I'm waiving all rights to it, and you can copy, modify, distribute, do whatever you want, even for commercial purposes without asking me if it's okay to do it. I'm surrendering all rights to this data, so you can't blame me, but you can do whatever you want with it, even if it's for your own commercial gain or some civic gain, which is higher. The data that we release will be high quality, documented, and permanent. So one is high quality. That means this is not one-off data sets, right? So this is a thing that we're maintaining on a monthly basis, weekly or daily basis, I suppose even. That is going to be there for the long haul. It's tied to something in our workflow, it's tied to something that we do, or it's tied to something that another agency, the city or county are doing. So the data's got to be high quality, and it has to be documented, it has to be, it has to be permanent. If we put out data in ArcGIS Online that you can access a REST endpoint to get to, and then we change the schema and you can't do it anymore, that's a problem. So it makes me nervous to think about having to maintain versions of data or versions of APIs even, but that's the level of thing that we have. So if we do move a little slow, that would probably be one reason. So maybe you're going to see maybe just more straight downloads first and less access to things that might require some reconfiguration of the service or something like that. We will protect sensitive data, so there has to be a this kind of trade-off. Like I was thinking, like, what can we do with sensitive? What do we have with sensitive? And like we're a very public agency. Not a lot of what we have. We could compile all the signatures of everybody that applied for something in our office. It's just like that's part of it. That's public record, but we probably shouldn't do it. So we got to be somewhat careful. The city has a lot more stuff that it probably rises to the level of sensitivity. We do. Utilities definitely do. That's one consideration. For us, this isn't a very big consideration. Support use innovation. So innovation. So this is Innovate 6.5 week. I went to the Innovate 6.5 entrepreneurial kickoff. Was anyone else there? It's Monday morning with Jewelry TV. So it was like all these big entrepreneurs, and it's just like there's a lot of money there, but it's like I think there's a lot more going on at the maker level and at this level than there is even going on at those levels at some point. So we want to support these types of things. I have a question about whether or not we should be leading it, but maybe we can talk about that as a group. I'd love to just open this up and have a little bit of a conversation about it. Implementation. Okay, so here's what we've done. Data inventory, check. The rest still need to be done. But we are getting some interest from the public about what we're going to do. We have an idea of what's going on. Cost is into consideration. We will consult with the public. We will establish a process for this, and we will license it appropriately. The license will be public domain dedication, so you can use it freely and do whatever you want with it. So what do I mean by programmatic priority? So by this, what I mean is, let me Chrome window here. Let's go out for a second. Okay. Okay, so we did an inventory of all the cell towers in the region because just last couple days ago, it went through MPC. There's a new ordinance about wireless commercial wireless communication facilities, not called telecommunication towers. New, the internet is going on.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Unfortunately,
we should log up Jetpack and disconnect it. But anyway, so because we're going to need it. So one of the things that we did is we went through that. Just turn that thing on. So one of the things that we did is we went and using open data sources from the federal government and then our own internal data, built inventory of all the cell towers that are in wireless communication facilities that are in the county. So, and down here, there's more information about that and all the towers and all those trends. So I'm done with that. Is it back? Yeah. That one's just still firing up. So, and then go to that. The KPC case. Okay. Don't zoom in because it's going to blow up. Okay, we're good. So the other thing that we did is we took that data, we put it in ArcGIS Online because we needed to make that application, that growing wireless application work, but we also put it in KGIS. So this is one of those clickable maps, I guess, that maybe isn't most functional, but now if someone wants to build a new wireless communications facility in Knox County, they have to go look at all the other towers that are out there and explain they can't meet the needs of their company by locating an antenna on an existing tower. So now we have a reason to publish open data. So this is an example where we're tying a programmatic priority to open data. So open data becomes kind of part of what you do, not something extra that you do along the way. So I think that's important to look for those opportunities as you go. Back into that.
Jim, does that include small cells or is that just towers?
It does not include small cells. And if anyone knows what small cells are, they're going to be everywhere. They're going to be on these little light poles that are out here in every place. And there's going to be thousands of them. And they're going to be what provides 5G in this community. So there's already a few going up out in Kingston Pike. There's a company that's doing some testing out there, but there's going to be tons more. All right, who took the survey? Show these ones. Okay, so a few people, right? So you represent about half of the survey takers. So thanks. All 20.
Sorry, really trying to get out there.
It's a start. You gotta go somewhere. So we asked, like we said, we want to prioritize our data for release. So we asked people, what do we want to sell? So we inventoried 50, like around 50, Nick, data. We kind of 45. And we grouped them into 11 of these categories, 11 categories, and then we asked you to prioritize them. All right. And so I know you're data science people, so I'm sure I did it.
Bikes and parks. Train system.
So isn't it amazing? Okay, so
I might have, given to some trans people.
Different IP addresses. So parks, greenways, and trails is number one. Bike facilities. This one kind of surprised me and actually started down.
This is definitely biased.
It might have. I might have seeded it a little too much.
So those are the top three. So kind of all transport related, to some degree, and then the thing with the urban wilderness, what could be out there, what could be done innovatively with applications, trails and things on urban wilderness. Who only knows, right? Maybe there's some way to tie Airbnb and urban wilderness together, and that's the sky's the limit when you start thinking about this stuff. Election data is here. That's polling places, all the districts, and that sort of thing. We have an inventory of all the downtown businesses, all the parking, free nights and weekends, all that sort of stuff. So we know where every single business is, and it's maintained by the gal that runs the Central Business Improvement District marketing program. And so we get this on a daily basis. We know long before Google or anyone else, Yelp or anyone else does, what's going in Shell. And we can show you an application built against that. The stuff that's like about us that you can measure our performance against and think how the community is changing is way down here. I really thought that things like historic structure and things about neighborhoods would be really popular. Turns out they're not. So that helps us, and these are all things that are in pretty good shape. We can send those out pretty quickly, I think. How would you use open data? This kind of surprised me too. So 82% said you could click, pick more than one, but to analyze community data, trends, and performance. I thought, innovation 865, this is entrepreneurship, there'd be like this whole thing, we're gonna start businesses with this open data. And it's like, that's pretty far down there. I think that there's, more civic use, I think that I'm hearing from people maybe want to undertake. And so I think that's important to keep in mind. The best way to provide the data. We're hearing this one 15 times so far. Direct downloads, machine-readable formats, REST services, and APIs. So you have to pick up on that. So interactive websites are not very important. They're somewhat important to most people, but this is the way that we know we need to focus. Yes, that's obviously the easiest thing to do. In most cases, I think that's probably what most people want. Okay, tell me otherwise. There's going to be some of this out there. There's probably more of this coming. This one's going to take some work. There are some APIs that are out there that KGIS has, but that's the only ones I know of at this point. There are some behind the firewalls, but you're not going to get those. Which mapping API do you use? Go Google. We are pretty much a totally an ArcGIS shop. OpenLayer is a few others. Microsoft, bless their heart. And then this one I thought was really interesting too. So we drive, the mouse at the desk, all they do is GIS. But when you ask people which GIS software do you use, over 60% of people said they don't use any. So I think that gives us some idea about how we need to think about providing data too. So it's not, shapefile is not necessarily just the way to go. We need to be thinking about just CSV files and really, basic text files, and you can do whatever you want with. I don't know how we put some of the coordinates in them, when we're talking about polygon line data, but we can fix the point data, we can handle that.
So as my answer, none. I still use shapefiles. Still use.
Yeah, I use a lot.
Shapefiles, GeoJSON, some other stuff.
So the GeoJSON you can probably get to with some of the REST services. And we maybe even show you that here in a little bit. And but shapefiles, yeah, CSV.
Shapefiles are always still helpful.
Yeah. They suck because they truncate. But,
right.
What else?
But it's still what GIS world uses.
Yeah.
And so the native people are probably going to be more flexible and, trying to change the reading format rather than changing the, giant inertia.
Well, we can publish in, file to your database, which is becoming more open, I guess. But I don't know, if you have something special, let us know. All right, this is Saturday. Does anyone know what it's a Saturday is?
Somebody's open.
Every day somebody thinks it is.
Most Jones are following guitars.
Saturday is a national day of civic hacking. Who's going to the Knoxville Civic Hackathon? There's one. There's one in Nashville. I don't know if there's one in Chattanooga. There's like 50. If you got the Code for America site, look this up. There's a lot of places that happens. So I want to get back to your comment to your question about the infrastructure. I think that's a good one. But I also want to share a response that was in the survey data. It is making data available isn't enough without active efforts to engage the community in data. Is that yours? Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, we did a survey of 40-odd cities that have been providing open data, and one of the major things that came out of that is It's not enough just to throw data out there. You have to think about how that data is getting used, and that ties into issues of data literacy, but also ties into issues of engaging the community, providing tools on the web for engagement, but also more broadly like you're doing here today.
Okay, I think,
No, but
yeah, no, okay, go ahead.
well, this comes to the comment I made earlier about the hackathon. So Knoxville doesn't have one of these.
Yeah.
It happens on Saturday,
Yeah.
which means we have 12 months to plan. I would argue this is a call to arms.
Yeah.
This is open data community, and this is KnoxData meetup. That 12 months from now, we should be participating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, mental note, but also actually on a to-do list is to your point.
It's something that we've been trying to think about for like at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Thinking
So-
about doing it.
And I'm hoping that in that list of data, there's some things that help support that effort. If government data needs to be a part of this, the thing that we were at on Monday morning with the lady there from Cincinnati, who kind of does this startup support system. It's called something. Anyway, her job is to support startup, and they've got like 400, 800 startups or something like that in Cincinnati. It's a huge and growing thing. And so what you got? What was she talking about? I forget about to say that. We got something like the name of that. Oh well, we'll come back. It goes back to her. Was it? I think it's Cincy Startup. It's something like that. Yeah.
And it's a Y for a high or something.
Yeah. But there was a reason why I was going to explain that. I'm not looking at it. I forgot what it was. Back to me. I agree. I also think the infrastructure thing is a very important way. There's lots of different ways to approach this. The whole notion of like a municipal open data program where you go to like their website, you go to their website, you go to their website, and so you go to all these different places to try to get it. There's some places where, and I think Philadelphia is probably one of the leaders in this respect. I think they kind of all put their data in one place, and they all share that repository. And people kind of register as users there. And Knoxville could take that sort of angle. Maybe there's an infrastructure solution where the first thing is we build a place for people to go put this stuff. So if we have a REST service that you can get to downtown businesses and free parking on weekends and all the public art, we need a place to just tell people that it's there. And so that might be potentially a project that a group like this could take on. There's open source, open data platforms. So there are things out there that we can use. All right, why? I think Russ hit on it. It's like it's transparency and accountability. You have to keep up with the Joneses, support these things. But then ultimately, why it's the right thing to do, and it's because it's not the government's data. It's it's the people's data. You shouldn't have to fight to get it. It's the people's data. I remember I first came to Knoxville in 2000, 3 months. And one of the first things I did is we took the zoning map. We had a zoning book. We were going to output it in this. At the time, it was PDFs were kind of sort of coming around, but there was this software called Deja Vu. It was done by Bell Labs, and I think Lizard Tech bought it. Who does Mr. Sid? Not who used Mr. Sid. It's like a really good English professional software. And we wanted to publish 160 plus zoning maps that we have in this Deja Vu format. It's like the beta of PDFs. It's like it was better, but it didn't live. You guys better please. But we got squashed because we were putting out the entire grid of the parcel fabric of all of Knoxville in a single document, and we were scared of that idea. So it's like this is things that we wanted to do, but this, the environment is changing now, and I think it's being driven by this sort of thing. I also think the software companies are driving it too. So, all right, you have to know about public records a little bit in order to be asking for data. Okay. So we're going to dip our toes briefly in this. Okay, what is a public record? It is anything that is not on this list. It is anything that is not on that list is a public record. That means that, and we don't have to read it. There's some really interesting things on there with the people that do the test sentences. Public, software that you purchase is a public record.
So on this list right here for public record, is it the fact that you guys own things on the information, but the say I have a medical something section there, and I have to give you green light to give it out. Is that the issue that's arising here?
It's considered confidential in that, yeah, it's not a public record, which means that you can't inspect it, obtain copies of it.
Without
As a citizen. Yeah, I don't know if you can, I don't know.
From our perspective, on the city side, we would give it to you even if somebody said it. Because there's nothing to say that they don't change their mind. Now, if they want to give it to you, that's their business.
Okay.
So I'm not.
You're just a much more central one if you can just
I know.
send out and come back.
It's one of the many challenges we were given.
I'm not gonna invite you to do this. Please don't. But if you said, Tim, I want to see your personnel file, you could, as long as I was there with you. So you can come down and look at my personnel file as long as I can be in the room with you while you were doing it. So that's part of the that's some of the stuff that's stipulated in the confidentiality. So you can't find out who owns the license plates associated with what car. That's considered public. But everything else, so anything else you can think of under the sun is a public record, and you have two rights. One is to inspect, which means that you can go look at it, and the other is that you can obtain copies for the cost of reproduction in time it was in excess of 1 hour.
Are there any rules about, like, at what point that becomes non-confidential or just aggregated?
I don't know. It seemed if we have asked for confidential data about it was abandonment and neglect cases, and we had to ask the board, and they approved that request and then aggregated the data and gave it to us. So I think, yes, I think that some of that confidentiality stuff does go away, and you can still get at it. All right, so we will go look at some of the costs of obtaining the cost of reproduction, and this is just massive exception to this whole idea of public records right here, which is commercial value. There's in GIS data, there is a stipulation that it says, particularly with regard to geographic information system data, you can charge for the cost of development of the data up to 10% in a single request. So if it costs me $100,000 to go develop a parcel layer, and you want to come in and get a copy of it, I can charge you up to $10,000 to get that. So this is the cost of building it, the cost of storing it, the cost of maintaining it, and on and on and on and on. So that's where it starts to get a little bit more pricey.
And going back to the question somebody asked before about the property assessor's office and why that cost you $100 to get that data, you got to remember 20 years ago, when a lot of TCA was written, or at least the current version of it, the only people that were asking for that data were real estate agents and developers. Right? So it had commercial value. Now it's a completely different world. The TCA's got to catch up.
So I'm curious about you use the word can, implying that you could do it, but you don't necessarily have to. So is there a decision boundary where the city decides, yeah, we're going to charge for this? Ah, okay. Best answer for a talk. It's on the next slide.
Awesome. Right. Non-business use by an individual. So if you said it says for use by yourself. So if you go and you go get all this data and you put it up on the website, I'm not sure if that's for yourself technically. So I don't know if someone would have a problem with that. The key is that it's for non-business use, that it's not for commercial use. So who said they want KGIS data? Okay, you want to get all the KGIS data. You want to get all the parcels, the topography. You want to get all the buildings, everything they got. I want all your data. I had that request. For the cost of reproduction, you can get it if you use it just for yourself, and it would hurt them to give it to you. But you can do that. You have that right under the TCA to go ahead and do that. News gathering organizations that are using this for journalism and reporting are also accepted to that. And it does not apply to records that don't have commercial value. So in some cases, you may be able to argue that you're being charged for the price of a record that does have a commercial value, when in fact it does not. I'll just show of hands, do election districts have commercial value?
Yes.
Yes.
Everything has commercial value.
Man, it's tough.
Yeah, is it a definition of commercial value? Is it some guy says this has commercial value?
We'd have to do more to dip our toes. I don't know how well it is defined what commercial value is. It's probably intentionally not.
So are requests for public record also public record? So could we find out who has purchased KGIS data?
That is a good question. So the answer is yes.
Yes, you can go and inspect that record if you just want to go look.
Okay.
And you cannot be charged to inspect records, sign anything or show anything. You can say, I want to see who bought your data. And they have to show you that. It freaks people out, trust me. Anytime someone comes in and hands you a public records request form, you're like, what did I do? It's totally wrong, right? And so it's freaky. But you have the right to do it. Most people don't do that. So we'd rather work with you than against you. That is why you see this. To go get the parcels in Chattanooga is $2,500. To go get the parcels in Metro Nashville, $3,700. Let's see, hopefully we can still get to the website here. There's data calculator. Let's just go look at it.
I think it's like 350 for the county.
Russ, you want to leave now so I can talk? Turn the camera on.
So while you're pulling that up, in regards to the GIS community, consider KGIS to be one of the more mature, sophisticated systems of public record out there.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's
absolutely.
That's just not that. It's not anecdotal conferences. That is actually okay.
No, our capability across city, county, KUB is very high, and I've had people just as 2 days ago consulting in the room. It's worked in Baltimore and other places around the city. It's like, we don't normally get this. This is amazing that you guys can do what you can do and provide the data that they want. So yes, it is. All right. I don't know how many tiles there are in the county for property, but I think there's over 500. And I base that on because I wonder if this only works behind the firewall. I'm not going to take the time to sign in. To get this data, I calculated for 500 tiles. I thought it was $8,000, but I calculated on here earlier it was like $25,000 plus $3,000 every year. So we're a little bit. Our pricing here is a little bit steeper than what you find across the rest of the state to obtain this data. So I don't. I'm not going to talk about what the future is for them in regards to their update. I don't know what it is, but I know where we're heading and the types of high quality data that we can provide. And we do not have a revenue structure, so we're not giving anything up. It's tied into their budget. It's going to be hard for them, and the city and the county have to make it easier if it's ultimately going to happen. How does that happen? You guys are not.
Does the city have? Is that been thought about in terms of how open data will eventually apply to KGIS?
I don't know. I have to ask Russ and see if you know.
I'm sorry, I let my mind wander. What was the question?
If the city's looking at ways to make KGIS open in terms of, I guess, additional funding.
The short answer is yes, but it is very touchy just because the way KGIS runs, it's kind of a different entity. Tim knows as well as I do, but yeah, the desire is there, but we've got some processes we need to work through. Hey, Tim, while you're doing that, I'm speaking out.
All right.
Card's going around. Anybody wants to come 311 just visit, you're more than welcome. We're open to the public. And if you want to come beat me up over some data stuff, yeah, let's see that. We'll see tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Any other questions for me? So that's the end of our slides. We have other examples we can show you, some REST services and websites built off of this stuff, or we just keep talking.
So I have a general question about so data standardization. So the question about KGIS was a bit loaded. So data standardization for geospatial data across municipalities, nationwide. Fairly complex topic, right? But if KGIS is considered sort of a template for good GIS system in general, a city like Atlanta or Chattanooga adopting the similar infrastructure setup and then also data schemas to get stuff into it. Now all of a sudden you start to get this geospatial data that's consistent across all these cities. And now the possibility of doing really large scale sophisticated analysis becomes possible. Is there also a consortium in the GIS space that's trying to get these different communities to talk to each other?
I'd say it is standardized. Because then
right, they can monetize it, right? But for the rest of us,
they have like big city, county government geodatabase templates out there for people to download and use, and it's not only like the database schema, but they have all these web apps that are pointed at it that they're really trying to push.
So it becomes a local adoption issue then.
Yeah.
You have the manpower and personnel to actually get the data into the system.
So what's the first thing you do once you download that template? Modify it to fit yours, right? Fit your workflows and that sort of thing. Okay. I'd say the answer is no. I don't know if you guys agree.
I agree with that. So now
there's not Google Transit data. I don't know if it's Google or general, but I think
they've unbranded that.
Yeah. That's as close as you're going to get to a standard. But even then, you don't maintain your data. You're maintaining your data in the vendor that your commercial, or the format that your commercial vendor that you do, and you dump it out to them. And I think that to me is probably a better solution. It's where you have these kind of feed specifications, the specifications that you push your data into. I don't even know that that's out there at all.
Or there is the OGC, the Open Geospatial Consortium, but I don't think specific to cities.
No, the federal level, people still care about that. I think they have to. But at our level, it's like we like our just a little bit lighter, a little bit faster, a little bit more agile.
There's the Open Knowledge Foundation as well. They're doing virtual data. I think they just released their version. I'm sure what it is. Obviously,
Any other questions for us?
Okay, I have a really basic question. When I'm looking at HIS, like the map itself, is all that information coming from like the engineering department? Are they doing like land surveys and getting locations of streets and sidewalks?
So the KGIS is interesting because it's a multi-entity department. So it's not even, it's a department, but I think they specialize in two things. One is land-based, so they have they have like the data that everything else is tied to. Control, the work of photography, some of that sort of stuff. Topography and elevations. Everybody else builds data on top of that. So you have all these other departments in the city and the county that are building data on top of that base layer that they provide. They also provide the applications and the platform to store it. So we have one big repository. Do we have a warehouse? Nobody finds a warehouse, but we do have a big place where everybody puts their stuff. Okay. The good stuff, not the one-off stuff. But yes, so there is an enterprise database in the back end that has all that stuff. That's what you see when you go to KGIS.org. So our zoning layers, we maintain them. You have the workflows that go on. You take that data and push it up to KGIS on a monthly basis and there's updates.
This is just a question because is anybody from KEB? I know there are completely different fees, but is there anything that KEB has that is, like I say, like outage data or anything like that they are plan on or put out there?
So they have their outage data on their website that they put out as a service, which is Storm.
Sure, but like maybe historic or anything like that.
I also know that if you go back to the confidentiality stuff, that's one of the things that's listed is anything related to utilities and utility customers.
So why is that confidential?
Infrastructure, it's just safety, general. I think I asked them one time about it, kind of, and it was like they didn't want out there about valves in their waters. We don't want people shutting them off. They're like, no, we don't want people trying to operate the system because they can severely damage it.
security issue.
It's a security issue, a safety issue, and things along those lines. As much as terrorism, all these things got really tighter in the early 2000s. We used to be able to see lots of, we see a whole bunch of pictures we want. But
If somebody's experiencing a lot of power outages, it's a good time to break into their business and their home. Vulnerable. Perhaps. I don't know. I don't really.
you can argue that we shouldn't protect wireless communications facilities, towers like that. But, you know, it's just like, that could be a security risk. Someone could go blow up all of the wireless communications. And then you also, what's the flip side of it? Most of the data that we got about these towers in the first place was from the website, which is, you know, is focused on, you know, homeland security, but it's also recovery. You know, if there ever is a widespread damage event in this county, it would be good if we know what got damaged, what was in the path of whatever that was, tornado or whatever it is. So there's flip sides to all these things, and having distributed data out there for everyone. What time is it?
Yeah.
So we can either show some of the REST services and other applications that if we show you about 5 minutes worth, I think you might actually be able to go in and start using it. So we officially document it and show that it's out there. So we can do that if you want. You want to drive out for a little bit? Does that sound good? Yeah. Well, just pepper up those questions as we go, because sometimes things take a second to load.
Maybe one other thing we can do is we kind of started putting together a list of open data stuff. We were just going to have it here for us to open it and be able to show you, but we can't really go through all this. Sure. Maybe email this out to the group.
Yeah, it doesn't know.
So you can poke around a lot of these websites that got and data sources that got a lot of data, but we'll just kind of stick with one.
Some of it's open, some of it's compilations of data that are open elsewhere.
And there's downtownknoxville.org. Is it?
Yeah.
I've heard of this or been on it. Look at a lot of places to eat, get a map, get a list, zoom in on the map. And Nick actually set up a lot of this back end. We worked with this Central Business Improvement District to get it going. And somebody, Robert, is editing it.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Robin and I are working together. We hear about something in the news, or she usually finds out before anybody else. So we go in and edit the database and update ArcGIS Online, and then those updates get pushed to their website.
How do you keep the data? Or
so it lives in ArcGIS Online. So we edit the data there, and she also has some more detailed fields in her CRM that's tied to it as well. So about breakfast, lunch, dinner, we don't care about that data, but she does. So we combine the two.
But since everybody here is kind of concerned with data, anybody really poked around with the ArcGIS REST in services?
Not
I just get options about how to turn stuff. A lot of it will give you. Sometimes you'll get the schema first, but it looks like it's just going straight into some of the data the Oliver Hotel, so it's not just restaurants, it's other things that are listed in there. That is probably,
It's a shell, so the application is built on, you have a structure, and inside that structure are shells. So like the Oliver building has the hotel, the Oliver Royale, Peter Curran Library, so there's shells inside that structure.
if you don't want to deal with that, and you just want kind of a point location, systems run on lat longs, what is it, 4326. You can put it in
that documentation.
Right. That one as well.
Shorter URLs to access these. These can get long.
Yes.
Yeah. So that really what that thing does is it helps you build the URL.
Oh, I was talking about like the query interface.
Yeah, going back to
that.
Yeah, are there any like short URLs to get all of these ones that we can play around with?
Of everything that's been published?
Mm-hmm.
We can ArcGIS online, do a search
Yeah.
for CBID.
Yeah.
So do that. Go to ArcGIS.com and do a search for CBID.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, this is it's not prototype, this is the pre-release system.
No, this is there.
It's out there now.
Okay. This is that. So the CBID website. This guy from Josh Vento from Design Century is a developer there. He goes in and he's written a system that every 5 minutes he goes in and he checks for data. And so if you watch our usage, it's like 2,300 requests an hour, just like all day.